In the chilly pre-dawn darkness, the soldiers of Echo Squadron gathered in the makeshift conference tent. Outside, the muted sounds of distant artillery punctuated the oppressive silence that had settled over the base. Inside, the atmosphere was taut with anxiety, as Captain Lewis stood at the front, his face grave. "We've identified a breach in our communications, gentlemen," he announced, his voice a mixture of anger and disbelief. "A traitor is among us." Shock rippled through the group like a physical wave. Eyes narrowed in suspicion and whispered accusations flew between soldiers who once shared bonds of brotherhood. Jacques, the astute surveillance officer, sat in the back, observing the reactions of his comrades. A skilled observer, his keen eyes caught the subtle shifts in demeanor, the nervous twitch of a hand, the averted gaze. He knew the implications of a traitor, the precarious foundation of trust they all stood upon was at risk of collapsing. Determined to uncover the truth, Jacques took it upon himself to navigate through the labyrinth of deceit that had ensnared his brothers in arms. He meticulously reviewed communication logs, decrypted ambiguous messages, and interrogated details that seemed insignificant at first glance. Each piece of the puzzle brought him closer to unveiling the traitor's identity. The tension he felt was palpable, and paranoia seeped into the unit, sowing seeds of distrust among soldiers who had once faced death together. Mistrust reigned, as once firm alliances now stood on shaky ground. As the setting sun bathed the camp in an eerie glow, Jacques finally discovered the truth. It was Lieutenant Jenkins, a man known for his charisma and bravery, but who had harbored grievances bubbling beneath the surface, grievances that had been manipulated by the enemy. Thwarted only because Jenkins' conscience faltered at the last moment, nearly leading the squadron into an ambush. Jacques confronted Jenkins discreetly, knowing the fragile unity of their team was at stake. He persuaded Jenkins to confess to Captain Lewis, averting a potential cataclysm. Yet, even as Jenkins was escorted away, the damage lingered. Trust, once shattered, was hard to rebuild. The episode left a scar on Echo Squadron. Night after night, the soldiers lay awake, grappling with the bitter truth that betrayal had crept so close. As they trudged on with their mission, the psychological toll of war weighed heavily on them. They realized the enemy wasn't always across the battlefield, and at times, maintaining trust was among the hardest battles they'd ever fight.